Welcome to the Book of Books, your home for uncovering wisdom, knowledge, and truth, one chapter at a time. Here, every topic unfolds like a book, whether we're deep diving into hidden history or exploring timeless life lessons. Join this ongoing book club of ideas, where every episode is a page, and every page might just spark the next big thought. This is where we break down wisdom, knowledge, and truth, one volume at a time. Every episode is a page. Every page is a step deeper, and tonight, we open Volume 1. This is the Lost Book, the Book of the Lost Bible Studies. In the beginning, there was only the Most High, the power and existence behind the hidden hand of creation. The great I Am, being all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-present, decided to manifest as spirit and share in his glory. From that divine presence, the first spirit emerged, an embodiment of the Most High's will and essence. And from that first spirit, the first spirits were created. Each crafted with purpose, played their part, ensuring that creation unfolded in harmony and purpose. This is the beginning. The moment when time itself was born. In that eternal instant, the Most High created the heavens, vast spaces and upper dimensions beyond all measure. And then the Most High formed the earth, our universe, our world, and the essence of physical matter itself. In this grand act of creation, the boundaries of reality were set, and the foundation of that which exists was laid. The Most High then began to fill these vast spaces and dimensions with beings, each known by different names and each carrying a unique purpose. Among them were the principalities, the powers, the angels, and many other divine orders. Each of these beings had distinct roles. Some were guardians of the cosmic balance, others messengers of divine will, and still others served as stewards of the realms. As the Most High's creation unfolded, these beings worked in harmony, each contributing to the divine plan and ensuring that the cosmos remained in perfect order. Then, the Most High began to develop and form the earth, carefully laying down the foundational elements that would become the building blocks of all physical matter. From the simplest particles to the complex structures, every element was imbued with divine intention. As mountains rose and valleys formed, the earth's crust solidified, and the seas carved out their paths. Every detail, from the tiniest atom to the vast landscapes, was crafted with purpose, creating a harmonious foundation for all that would arise. In this grand design, the beings created by the Most High possess not only the ability to fulfill their divine purpose, but also the freedom to choose otherwise. While the cosmos worked in perfect harmony, the emergence of free will introduced the potential for discord. As some beings chose to act against their intended purpose, chaos began to seep into the order of creation. This divergence from divine intent created ripples of imbalance, and the Most High, in divine wisdom, placed those beings who strayed from their purpose outside the harmonious order, into what would become known as outer darkness or chaos. In this way, the balance of creation was preserved, and the consequences of choice became part of the cosmic order. As the earth took form, the Most High infused it with life. From the land and the seas to the skies above, every corner of the earth was teeming with purpose. The Most High began by bringing forth plants and vegetation, laying down the foundation of the earth's ecosystem. Then, in perfect harmony, creatures of every kind began to emerge, from the smallest insects to the great beasts of the land and the depths of the sea. Each was created with intention. Birds filled the skies, fish swam through the waters, and animals roamed the land, each fulfilling its unique role in the grand tapestry of creation. Through this process, the earth became a vibrant, living world, reflecting the wisdom and glory of the Most High. To protect and establish a clear boundary between the earth and the higher realms, the Most High placed a barrier known as the firmament. This firmament, as described in ancient texts, separated the waters above from the waters below, creating a distinct boundary between the physical realm and the higher heavens. In doing so, the Most High ensured that the earth remained distinct and protected, while also maintaining the order of creation. This firmament became a symbol of divine separation, ensuring that the earthly realm was both protected and connected to the higher dimensions. As the earth was being formed and prepared, the deep still lay covered in darkness. Then the voice of the Most High moved across the expanse. From his command, light emerged. Not yet from any star or flame, but from his authority alone. And the Most High separated the light from the darkness. Where there had been only void and shadow, there was now distinction, light to reveal, darkness to conceal. From that separation, the rhythm of time began. Cycles were established. Movement was given direction. Then the Most High placed lights within the heavens above the earth. The greater light was set to govern the day. The lesser light was set to govern the night. And the stars were spread across the expanse. These lights were not placed without purpose. They were established to give light to the earth, to sustain life, to serve as signs, to mark seasons, and to measure the passage of time itself. Through them, order was made visible. Creation now moved with rhythm. Day and night, season after season, time had begun its count. And when the order of the heavens was set and the earth moved within its rhythm, the Most High turned his attention inward, toward the hosts that stood before him. The heavenly council, spirits brought forth by his will, principalities, powers, messengers of authority. They stood within the order he had established, each aware of their purpose, each bound to the structure of creation. And the Most High spoke among them, not from uncertainty, not to seek permission, but to declare intention. Creation had been formed, order had been set, life had begun to move. Yet something more was to come, a new phase, a being unlike the others, one not only to exist within creation, but to rule within it. The council listened as the Most High revealed his will, a creation formed from the earth itself, yet carrying his breath, a being placed not in the heavens, but within the earth, given authority to maintain it, to subdue it, to cultivate it, to cause it to multiply, not as servants of the heavens, but as stewards of the physical realm. And the purpose was clear. What the heavens governed in order, this new creation would govern in form. Thus began the decision that would change the course of creation, the forming of man. In the midst of heaven and earth, the Most High established a space set apart from all other regions of creation. He planted a garden. It was called Eden, a place where the boundary between the spiritual and the physical was held in perfect balance. Within that garden, from the substance of the earth itself, the Most High formed the man. He called him Adam. Adam was not brought forth as the other beings had been. He was shaped from the ground. Then the Most High leaned close and breathed into him the breath of life. Spirit entered matter, and the man became living. By that breath, Adam was set apart from every other creature already moving upon the earth. He was not only formed, he was animated by the direct breath of the Most High. Placed within Eden, Adam stood between realms, given authority to cultivate, to maintain, and to govern what had been prepared. From Adam, the Most High then brought forth Eve, not as a separate creation from the dust, but from Adam himself, establishing partnership, continuity, and multiplication within the earth. Together they were charged to tend the garden, to be fruitful, to multiply, and to steward the living world entrusted to them. In Eden, humanity's story began, where spirit and earth first moved together as one. Within the garden, nothing was lacking. All that was needed for life, growth, and dominion had been placed within their reach. And the Most High established a single boundary. You may have anything within this garden, except the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The day you eat from it, you will bring forth death and surely die. In the midst of Eden, that tree stood apart, not hidden, not removed, present as a witness to the order that had been set. It represented more than nourishment. It represented mixture, the blending of what was pure with what was corrupt, good intertwined with evil, And within the order of creation, such mixture was not meant to be consumed, because to partake of it would be to step outside the harmony that had been established from the beginning. The choice before them was not merely about a tree. It was a decision of alignment, to remain within the will of the Most High in the perfection of His design, or to take hold of knowledge that carried both light and corruption together. The garden remained at peace, but now within that peace, a boundary existed, and with that boundary, the possibility of crossing it. In the stillness of the garden, where every living thing moved within its appointed order, another presence entered the midst, a spirit, ancient, observant, and cunning. It appeared in the form of a serpent, not as one newly created, but as one who had already stepped beyond the harmony that governed the garden. Its eyes carried knowledge that did not belong within Eden, knowledge already touched by mixture. At a time when Eve had moved apart from Adam, the serpent approached. Its voice was measured, careful, deceptive without appearing hostile. It did not begin with command. It began with suggestion, with questions designed to shift perception. Eve answered according to what had been established. She spoke the boundary clearly, that the fruit of the tree in the midst of the garden was not to be consumed. Yet the serpent continued. It reframed the command, twisted its meaning, presented the forbidden not as danger, but as opportunity. Its words appealed not only to reason, but to curiosity, to possibility, to desire. The tree that stood as a boundary now appeared different in her sight, no longer simply forbidden, but intriguing, valuable, promising understanding. Emotion began to move where certainty once stood, and in that moment, between what had been spoken and what was now being suggested, Eve chose. She reached for what she herself had declared was not meant to be taken, and she consumed the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. After she had taken of the fruit, Eve returned to Adam. What had been done could not be undone. The knowledge she now carried pressed upon her thoughts, and she spoke to him, persuading him to share in what she had already received. Adam listened. The choice before him was clear: to remain within the command that had been given, or to join the one who had been formed beside him. And Adam took the fruit. He consumed it. In that moment, something shifted. The harmony that had governed the earth from its beginning moved out of alignment. What had once flowed in perfect order now carried fracture. Awareness changed. Innocence gave way to knowledge touched by mixture. The presence of the Most High approached them in the garden, not absent of love, but filled with justice. They could not remain where the order of creation had been broken, and the Most High spoke the consequences of what had been chosen. The ground itself would no longer yield without resistance. Labor would replace ease. Pain would accompany life. And the garden, once their dwelling, would no longer be their home. They were sent out from Eden, placed upon the earth they had been formed from. Yet even in judgment, mercy remained. For it was declared that an enmity would exist between the lineage of the serpent and the lineage of humanity, a conflict that would continue across generations. The serpent's influence would wound, but would not ultimately prevail. Humanity would endure, though not without suffering the damage of that ancient opposition. From that moment forward, the fracture entered not only the man and the woman, but the world itself. What had once been perfectly ordered now carried both good and corruption intertwined. And the story of humanity would move forward as life and death under the weight of both consequence and promise. And when they were driven out from the garden, the world beyond it was not as it had been within. The ground no longer yielded without labor. The harmony that once surrounded them was now distant, yet life did not end. It continued. Outside of Eden, Adam and Eve began to multiply. From them came the next generation of humanity. Their firstborn was called Cain. After him came Abel. Both were born into a world that still carried the memory of perfection, yet now moved under the weight of separation. Cain worked the ground. Abel kept the flocks. Each brought forth offerings from the labor of their hands, but where purpose had once flowed without resistance, now the struggle within the heart had begun to take root. Jealousy entered. Resentment grew. And in time, Cain rose against his brother Abel. The first shedding of human blood marked the earth. What had begun as disobedience in the garden now spread outward into the world. Sin, once introduced, did not remain contained. It moved slowly through generations. Though humanity was no longer sustained by the direct life of the garden, the breath placed within them still carried strength. Their years stretched long. Hundreds of seasons passed within a single lifetime. They were no longer immortal, yet their lives endured far beyond what would come in later ages. As generations increased, so did both knowledge and corruption. The earth began to fill with people, and with them the consequences of choice spread across the land. As generations multiplied across the earth, the memory of the garden grew distant. Cities began to rise. Tools were fashioned. Knowledge increased with each passing generation. Yet alongside growth came corruption, and in those days some among the heavenly host looked upon the daughters of humankind. These were the beings once established within the order of creation, watchers of the earth, witnesses to its unfolding, but not all remained within their appointed purpose. They saw the daughters of man, and they chose to cross the boundary set between realms. They descended. They took wives from among humanity, and from these unions came offspring unlike any that had walked the earth before. Giants, mighty ones of renown, beings whose strength and presence reshaped the lands they inhabited. With their presence came influence, and with influence came reverence. Some among them accepted honor that had never been intended for created beings. Worship began to turn away from the Most High. As these heavenly beings remained among humanity, they did not come empty-handed. They revealed forbidden acts and knowledge not yet meant for the earth, such as astrology, the workings of metals, the crafting of weapons, astrology and divination, the reading of signs, and all sorts of technology and elemental manipulation, teachings that advanced civilization, yet also accelerated corruption. What had once unfolded slowly now advanced rapidly. Power increased. Violence followed. Many wars were fought between the people who followed the Most High and the giants. Also, the knowledge that could build also became knowledge that could destroy. And the earth, once formed in order, began to fill with both greatness and ruin. The boundaries between heaven and earth had been crossed, and the consequences spread across generations. They crossed the boundary, mixing with humanity, corrupting the order. For this, the Most High, being just, bound these fallen ones in chains, casting them into Tartarus, far removed from the world. Yet amidst this growing corruption there was one man, Noah, who remained untainted. His lineage was pure, untouched by the abominable mixing. Seeing his righteousness, the Most High spoke to Noah, revealing what was to come, a cleansing flood to wash away the corruption. But Noah was not left without hope. The Most High gave him wisdom and instruction, a prophecy and the knowledge to construct an ark, a vessel that would withstand the flood, preserving life and ensuring that the order of creation would continue through Noah and his lineage. Thus, even in judgment, there was a plan for renewal and redemption. Once the flood had fully subsided, Noah and his family stepped onto dry ground. The earth was then divided among his 3 sons. Japheth, Ham, and Shem became the progenitors of what would become the 3 original races, black, white, and Asian, each giving rise to the nations that would spread across the world. And although the flood killed, the flesh of the hybrids, their spirits did not disappear. Because they were born from both heavenly beings and humans, they no longer fully belonged to either realm. They had no bodies of their own, yet they were not allowed to return to the heavenly place. So their spirits remained on the earth as wandering spirits, restless, searching, driven by hunger and desire. Unable to live as they once did, they sought bodies to influence or inhabit. These wandering spirits are what later traditions call unclean spirits or demons. Meanwhile, the watchers themselves were judged and bound, imprisoned for breaking the divine order by crossing boundaries that were never meant to be crossed. After many generations, much of the world became united, forming a single accord and a unified government. In their ambition, they began to construct a tower, the Tower of Babel, in hopes of reaching the heavens and altering the Most High's plan. But their efforts were halted when the Most High sent a spirit of confusion, fracturing their language and preventing them from communicating. In that moment, humanity was scattered and divided according to the number of the sons of God, with these divine beings placed over the nations that chose to follow lesser, fallen entities. In that separation, the Most High divorced the nations. Yet from the scattering, the Most High called a man, Abraham, from the city of Ur, to be set apart. With Abraham, he established a covenant, promising that his descendants would be as countless as the stars, and that they would be blessed through this eternal promise. From Abraham came Isaac, and from Isaac came Jacob. Jacob was given the name Israel, and his 12 sons became the nation of Israel, the chosen 12 tribes with whom the Most High established his covenant. Yet these chosen people would be stubborn, and when they strayed, the Most High allowed them to be scattered among the nations. Meanwhile, the nations from whom he had divorced became corrupt, using power as the fallen beings once did. Yet there was a promise. While Israel would go into captivity, like when they were in Egypt, they would one day be redeemed by the Redeemer, fulfilling the prophecy of restoration. Over time, the balance of power on earth shifted once more. Corruption seemed to hold the upper hand as the majority ruled, while God's chosen people, scattered among the nations, found themselves in slavery and captivity. Yet amid this darkness, a prophecy arose. The 3 wise men told of a new king, Christ, born into a human body. Yet he was more than man. He chose to incarnate from the heavens. He was the Word of God, the very force through which the Most High had created everything, heaven, earth, and the cosmos. Christ was the Word, the divine instrument of creation itself, now stepping into the world as the Redeemer foretold. Christ came to save his people, though many did not recognize him when he walked among them. Growing up, he displayed wisdom beyond measure, knowledgeable in all things. When the time came for his mission, he gathered disciples to follow him. He healed the sick, restored the broken, and cast out unclean spirits, demonstrating authority over the seen and unseen. Yet, he told his disciples that he would be sacrificed, so that through him the world might be saved. The stage was set, and the prophecies aligned. Though Christ provided a way through him and the Holy Spirit for salvation, there remained a time appointed during which the enemy would still hold sway over the earth. Even with the path to redemption open, the appointed times must unfold before the final victory. And the dominion of the enemy would be allowed for a time, as foretold. In the final culmination, judgment will come. Every person will be judged for all they have done and spoken. The fallen angelic beings will also face judgment. The place prepared for them, often thought of as hell, will itself be cast into the lake of fire. This is not merely destruction, but a refining process, where impurities are dissolved. What remains, the pure essence, is returned to the Creator, to be used anew for his power and his glory in the restored creation. This marks the beginning of a new heaven, a new earth, and a new creation. In this renewed reality, humanity will finally witness the full power and essence of the Most High. No longer veiled or distant, his presence will elevate them as they live in harmony with him and his eternal glory. We begin a new chapter in creation. This is the foundation of that which was, that which is, and that which is to come. And that concludes this volume. You've just turned another page in the book of books. If this chapter spoke to you, sit with it, study it, and share it, because wisdom isn't just heard, it's applied. This is the book of books, and we're only getting started. Like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next volume.